7 o'clock?
Yep, we are all ready.
It looks like that time. All right, everybody, welcome to the Tonganoxie City Council meeting on this February 21st, 2003. I'm the Mayor Pro Tem, filling in tonight for our mayor, and let's go ahead and get the meeting started. Lindsay, could you please call the roll?
Yes, thank you. Mr. Partridge is absent. Ms. McCutcheon?
Here.
Mayor Freeze is also absent. Ms. Stevens?
Here.
Mr. Donnelly is also absent, and Mr. Dale.
Here.
All right, let's go ahead and start off with the Pledge of Allegiance, if you could join me. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, next on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from our previous meeting. Does council have any comments or questions about those? If not, I'll look for a motion.
I'll motion to approve.
Second.
All right, any discussion? If not, let's have a vote on that. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, that passes. Let's move on to the consent agenda. Were there any questions about the review of the bill payments in our consent agenda for this meeting? If not, then let's go ahead and I will look for a motion to approve those.
I'll motion to approve.
Second.
All right, thank you very much. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. There's no old business listed, and so with new business, unless I hear any objections, and because we have guests here, we're going to go ahead and move item F to top of our agenda, so we can go ahead and address the issue at hand that regards them, so they can go ahead and go about their evening. This is regarding the water tower project and an update on that. So I will invite staff to properly introduce this topic, which we're all aware of its ongoing progress, and then we will let our guests go ahead and address those issues.
Great. Thanks, Mayor Pro Tem. So this evening we have Dave Francis and Maria Uhas here with Caldwell Tank, and I believe Dave's going to give us an update on a recent request that we received asking for consideration on a extension of the deadline for the completion of the water tower. And I'll ask Dave to kind of go through the reasons they're making that request. We're not in a position to make a decision tonight or ask you to make a decision tonight. It's simply to hear firsthand their request for the extension. We also have Brian Kingsley and Paul Owings here with BG. BG is, in addition to being the city engineer, we have a contract with them on the performance management and the construction of the water tower itself. So again, the water tower is a 750,000 gallon composite style tank. We got a lot of the foundation work done late summer, early fall. We were hopeful to get pedestal construction going to kind of stay on track. Originally, when we went out for RFP, we were thinking a March timeframe. We then bumped that back to May, and the most recent communication is asking for an extension of substantial completion into July. I believe it's July 12th. We've got, on the city side, we've got some performance standards that are tied in our development agreement with Hills, so we need a better understanding of what Caldwell's asking. We're doing some staff reviews on our ability to deliver adequate water supply based on our current infrastructure, so we can go have those discussions with Hills. Again, just give them that update that it could be, potentially there might be a change from May to July, or there will be. It's just a matter of contractually what we would be obligated back to Caldwell in terms of allowing that. And so, like I said, I'm anxious to have Dave come up and tell you firsthand where they're experiencing delays and how that contributed to this project being slowed down. So with that, unless you have additional questions for staff, I can answer them now or even later, but I'll invite Dave up if you don't mind going up to the podium. And state name and address for the record.
You want my address? Dave Francis, Caldwell Tanks, I'm Louisville, Kentucky. It's our home headquarters. I appreciate you all giving me a few minutes to talk to you all tonight. As you know, as he stated, the foundation for the tank was put in and finished up in late September of last year. I don't know if y'all are aware or anybody else, the issue in the industry wide has been cement, and this is a composite tank. Last year with the Mississippi River being so low, it created cement shortages throughout the whole country, which affects our ability to build composite tanks. We have been pushing through as much as we can. We got here as quick as we could. The crew that was here, that was actually supposed to be here in early December, didn't finish the job they were on until late January, and it was just strictly material shortages. So with that, you know, we're pushed through. We're here now. We mobilized to the site early February. The crew that's on site, they're going to be here finished up. We got more manpower coming for the concrete crew. They should be making their first pour on Monday. Once we get above the overhead door access point, it's going to go up pretty quick. We'll move to a 2-a-day pour schedule from there. Should be finished up early April. The tank crew for this job is actually just waiting on the concrete crew to get finished. The tank is fully fabricated, sitting in our shop in Louisville, Kentucky on trailers, ready to come out here. Once we do that, we're going to build the tank 100%. We're going to get it jacked up in the air, and then it'll be painted in the air. At the same time, while the painters are here, we got the pipe guys are going to come in. They're going to put the pipe inside of the base, which is out of the norm. Normally we get done painting before we'll put people underneath of them, but with this job, trying to get it up and get it running, we're going to have the piping going in at the same time. So it's unfortunate. We don't want to be here. We don't like asking for these kind of things. We like to make everybody happy. It's just, it's an industry-wide problem. It's not exclusive to Tonganoxie. I know that's not an excuse. The customers behind you guys are waiting for us to get there as well. So we need to get out of here as fast as you all want us out of here. So it's just been it's been challenging in the construction industry since COVID, trying to come back. And fortunately, I was telling everybody earlier, the concrete delays that we were seeing, we've built enough tanks in this area. We've got some commitments from our concrete suppliers. We're not going to see any delays here. The cement shortages with the Mississippi, we've had plenty of rain. Everything's back up. Really wasn't a supply issue. It was a transportation issue to get the cement around the country, because most of it comes up the Mississippi and then up the Ohio. So they were rationing everybody. But most of that, with the rain we've had, everything's back up. Things are moving. So I don't anticipate any delays here other than rain. Can't control Mother Nature. So if it rains, we can't work those days. But other than that, we will be on site. Any questions for me?
So currently, this has been pushed back from March to May. And so your ask right now, or your anticipation, is that you need to ask for another extension?
I don't believe the first extension wasn't an extension request from us, was it, Paul?
No, it was originally extended prior to the bid. So the original contract has not been extended.
Okay, and this went out for bid in 2022. So during COVID, I mean, I have television and I saw all kinds of things about supply chain issues and logistics issues. So this went out for bid when we were all aware of these types of issues. So I just don't, I'm just concerned that Hills, I mean, this is one of the biggest investments, economic investments in the county, in the state, really. And so we don't want anything to jeopardize the success of them coming in and being operational on time.
Yes, ma'am.
I guess that's my big concern.
Yeah, and I wish there was a way I could tell you that we could get it on faster, but other than throwing manpower out and getting it built as fast as we can now, there's no other means where there's so many hours to build the tank, there's so many hours to put the pedestal on, so many hours have to be worked to get the tank built. We're gonna work overtime. We're not taking home breaks, so the guys are gonna be there nonstop. All these guys are from not here. So we've asked our crews to do that. All I can tell you is we've made the dedication to get it done as fast as we can.
The last project that you completed at the last job location, where was that?
Which one?
I mean, you just referenced it. I just
Well, we
made a
just-
note from
we-
what
we
you said.
finished- We finished 3 tanks for Water One recently. We built one in Shawnee. We built 2. We built one in K7, K10. We worked on one of their old tanks. We currently have 120 active projects across the country going.
So the ones in these areas, were those on time or were those delayed in any way?
Those are delayed as well. So, yeah, those were built, especially, the first one, Shawnee, was not. The 2 that most recent ones were built, they were right in the middle of COVID. So that's when those, both of those projects were built.
Jake, Jenny, do you have any questions?
No.
No, I don't think I have any questions. I certainly understand supply chain issues and that runs more than just supply chain, but as he said, transportation, which has been a challenge. And it's interesting that, you know, we're, 3 years, since COVID began, but, I mean, it's always something new that's coming up. So,
Yeah.
I deal with, clients that are in construction. I know that, you know, everything gets impacted. And so it is unfortunate. It is what it is. And certainly there is a time, you know, the work has to be done. There's no water tower fairy that can just come in and wave a wand. So,
Sir, I wish there was a way to get it done faster. Short of everything we're doing right now, I don't know, the crew that's coming here to build the tank itself, the steel bowl, they're actually in Kearney, Nebraska, doubled up waiting to come here. So as soon as we get the shaft built, they'll be here. If we had enough room on the site to work, they could actually do some prep work, but we just don't, there's just not enough room out there to do it, so we're kind of locked in the way we are right now.
Well, if there are no further questions, I appreciate you coming here and giving us this update.
And it's no problem. If y'all need me to come back anytime, like I told those guys this morning, I'll be here, so.
Yeah, this city is not as fun as Louisville, but we do have, you know, some fun things going on.
I guess it depends on your, what you want to say. I love my hometown, but it's got its issues too, so. Thank y'all.
Sure.
Thank you.
So I think, Mayor Pro Tem, just to kind of wrap that up, they sent us a communication requesting the consideration of the delay that they've proposed. That has some, we'll have to make some consideration because the current contract provides for things like liquidated damages on a daily basis. Granting an extension would be, in essence, a waiver of that. But based on dates and timeframes, we have enough time that staff can prepare some options to present to the city council at the March 6th meeting that would still give us enough time to respond back to their letter and keep us in compliance with the contract provisions, you know, for these types of considerations. And so we're working on that. Anna and her firm's reviewing the legal side of things. I mentioned earlier, we're reviewing some of our other infrastructure components with BG, and we want to make sure that when we give you options at the next council meeting, that you have a pretty clear picture of how we can move forward with it.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I'm not a contract attorney, but looking further into the details of the previous agreement, knowing that, like Jake said, some things cannot be prevented, but this was bid after we had been in COVID for a couple of years. And so most everyone would have recognized that this transportation, supply chain, logistics, whatever you would want to call it, could have been a possibility. And so I just want to make sure that we are working.
Can I clarify one thing on that?
Certainly, yes, please.
So the cement issue with the transportation was not a COVID direct. That was a Mississippi drought issue.
Okay, so climate related.
It's a climate related issue. The Mississippi was so low they couldn't get the barges up, which is what 80% of our cement comes from. The
That
south.
happened after this went out for
That
bid and you
that happened last summer.
were awarded the bid?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
So I want to be clear, COVID is still an issue with pipe and resins and all kinds of manpower
Sure.
issues, but this particular issue with cement was caused
Yeah.
by climate last summer.
But I think in my experience, primarily with home builders, that one shortage then begets another shortage, which begets another shortage. And, you know, once they got, windows sorted out and windows were in better supply, then gutters were in short supply. So it's just always a prolonged effect of.
Yeah, certainly. Most industries have been impacted by that, but I just want to make sure, because Hills is such a big investment for our community, that we don't delay their
And that's why I wanted to
success.
clarify,
Yeah.
that the cement shortage was not a direct cause of COVID. That was strictly climate related last year for the drought.
And I think we're doing the analysis to determine what a shortage would mean to Hills itself. I mean, they're still decently on track even with this water tower delay. I mean, it's not slowing them down any, right?
Not to my
Not yet,
knowledge.
anyway.
Right, not yet. I mean, that's just what we want.
We need to protect that.
We need to
Right.
determine that and protect that.
Yeah, and
I
that's,
think
we've
that's
got,
our main concern.
we've got a tiered delivery system to them that we had discussed. You know, they have so many needs for ramp up and testing of the first line, then the second line, and then when does the plant officially go into full production for those two lines? And each one of those milestones has a different level of demand on our water supply. And so the lower levels, we're confident that our 12-inch loop water line, which again, thank you to the city council for approval to go ahead and beef that up, will keep us in the neighborhood of demand through some point of that. And that's what we pay BG to help us do the rest of that analysis.
I have a question. I'm sorry you can answer it from there. But, you know, it's one thing to build the thing. What is Caldwell's responsibility in operability? Do you guys ensure that the water tower is functioning correctly, or just building the thing?
We build it, we get it all hooked up. Our responsibility kind of ends where we tell you all it's ready to put water into it.
Okay.
We will sterilize it, seal it, and stay on site until it's basically full of what we call a submarine hatch to make sure that it's not leaking. And then from there, you know, it's got to get filled to overflow. We will not touch any valves just because it's an active water system and it's not our water system. So we don't want anything with backflows or any of that kind of stuff goes. There's two tests, and I'm not sure about this contract specific, whether we're taking the test or the water system's taking it, which will be the back T samples, basically certifying the water's clean. And then once that happens, within a 24 to 48 hour period, it's good to put it in service.
Good.
And that's what we're looking at July 12th right now. Having the pipe all hooked up to it, ready to turn on to the system.
So really, there's two dates that we look at. One is substantial completion, the other is final completion. Substantial completion is what Dave just mentioned, is targeted for July 12th. That's at the point where the tower's completed and we're bringing it online onto our system. There will be some, minor things that are still done to hit final completion, but we're most concerned about that substantial completion and when that comes online for us. Unless you have any questions for staff, we don't have anything further on this item.
Okay. Thank you again for your time being here today. All right, let's move on to what is now item letter B, the consideration of the approval of a donation for the 2023 Group Water Park Session Pass for the Genesis School Incorporated auction. Anybody on staff want to debrief this? I think we're all pretty familiar with this request as it comes to us annually.
Yes, I'll give a quick update. Denise Bixby with Genesis Schools reached out this year. As Mayor Pro Tem Stevens mentioned, it is a standard request that we've received at least the last 4 or 5 years. This year, the terminology changed a little bit. The Family Pass recently transitioned to a group pass for up to 5 individuals collectively, and the value of that is $140. It doesn't have a significant budget impact to donate one, and then the purpose is for the Night of Nights fundraising auction event that is hosted by the school as a fundraiser. I think it's their largest fundraiser of the year, according to what we've been told in the past. So staff don't have any objections, but we would accept a motion from the council to authorize this donation.
Are there any questions or discussion about this? Then I would look for a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve the donation of a 2023 Group Water Park Season Pass for the Genesis School Inc. auction.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, then, that's approved. Let's move on to Kent, Mr. Heskett, the consideration of the approval of the 2023 street maintenance plan and draft request for proposals.
I'll do a quick introduction, but I know you all have many questions for Mr. Heskett, so I'm sure he's glad to answer those. This year, we've got an aggressive schedule of maintenance activities suggested for release in an RFP. We're coming to you tonight to discuss those in brief or in whatever level of detail you'd like, but the agenda statement did include a lot of the detail information. Each year in the annual adopted budget, the city council adopts a special highway fund expenditure budget authority that establishes a funding parameter, and then Kent, Heskett, and other public works staff complete assessments of the street conditions and the level of deterioration that occurs from ice and snow in the winter, wear and tear of the road, traffic, various other elements, age of the streets, and other previous maintenance techniques obviously play a big role in what deteriorates at what speed relative to the rest of the city's network. What we've tried to provide in this slide and one other slide is a quick pictorial view of those segments. In all, there are 10 segments proposed for inclusion in the RFP. Those are outlined in the table on pages 2 and 3 of the 10 for contract work are actually outlined in page 2 of the agenda statement for this item. As you can see, we have 8 items ending in A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and H that are proposed for the base bid. And so that is an element that we would request that all bidders submit their total bid price for the measured area. And then the add alternate one is items, the last 2 items I and J. And the city council, when they consider bid approval in the future, at a future meeting, potentially on March 20th, according to the proposed RFP schedule, you'd have the opportunity based on the cost outcomes to consider approving the base bid and the add alternate or only the base bid. We also, depending on number of bidders, do have the right to reject all bids if we so choose. We've had good participation in the past. We've completed mill and overlay services, I think 4 out of the last 5 years at least, as part of our street maintenance techniques in the city. This year, the only proposed contracted service is that mill and overlay according to the details shown in that table. There are a few project areas where we do see some small curb replacements being necessary, so that is one slight addition. But generally, the mill and overlay treatment is what's proposed in this. We also want to highlight the schedule. So if we receive your approval tonight to move forward with the RFP, we would do an issuance of the RFP as soon as tomorrow, with bids due March 15th in advance of the March 20th City Council meeting. That lets staff review the bids, verify the numbers and comparisons between them, and draft a proposed contract for your consideration. This is a little earlier than we've done this process in past years. The intent of that is to put the city's project list out there sooner, try to get done a little earlier. We've had projects wrap up in November and October the last several years. The scale of work just keeps going up for these contractors. And the hope here is that we can have an August 1 completion deadline included in the contract for these vendors that are submitting for this project. I think this promises to be the most significant investment in the last 5 years at least in annual maintenance in terms of funding. We have reviewed in the past funding fund balance levels that are very healthy in our special highway fund. So should our original budget estimate prove non-sufficient to cover the scope of projects that the council wishes to complete this year, we do have opportunities to reevaluate the budget authority and do a budget amendment mid-year if we need to. So we're not completely fixed with that expenditure limit set in the budget. I've kind of bounced around, but I might quickly point out a couple things on our map indicating the areas. So in this, you can see the area generally north of 2440 and east of Tonganoxie Drive. You can see the project areas highlighted with the little red dots with the ID cards showing which ones they are. And so I wanted to point out that I and J on this slide, which are I from Woodfield connecting Lamming to Stone Creek Avenue. That is area I, that's part of the add alternate. And then J is the area, you might remember last year we completed the curb replacement in Willow Point subdivision along Willow Point Avenue and East Sycamore Street. Those two are included as our add alternate. So everything else on this slide, Lamming Road, Woodfield Drive and sort of the upside down L, and then Stone Creek Avenue, moving from the traffic signal to the intersection with Woodfield, and then up towards the termination point for the proposed scope at North Clear Creek Place. Could you go to the next slide, please, Lindsay? The area south of 2440, to kind of give you context, this area with the item ending in D is at 2440 and South Park Drive, the traffic signal. Moving south, down Willis Drive. E is the Rawlings Drive from 4th Street to Joel's. We have a small segment for Joel's from Rawlings to Willis. And then Village Terrace from 2440 south to 2nd Street and then east to Village Street itself. So you might remember too, if you were either on the city council at the time or remember watching, about 5 years ago, many of these same streets were treated with a preservative approach called asphalt rejuvenation. We think that was the second time that a lot of these streets received that in their 20 to 25 year lifespan since installation originally. And so the 5-year goal of that preservative did seem to have the desired outcome. But now we're at the point where, based on their condition, Kent is recommending that we target these streets for this year's scope of work for mill and overlay, which should restore a more newish looking surface condition. I've kind of covered a lot quickly, but happy to take any questions you have, and I'm sure Kent would be as well, or George.
Keeping the streets in good condition, I know has been an effort by the city council in our budget talks for many years, and Kent and his team do a great job of identifying those problem areas and tackling them year after year. I trust his team's insight on what needs to be approached this year. Keep in mind, thinking of Rocky Hempel, the crosswalks that were his project that he really liked, and I like this accelerated timeline. So this will be done before the students go back to school. That's great for all of you to keep that in mind.
I might add one more comment. I forgot my third slide to illustrate the city staff completed projects, the projects they anticipate working on this year, just buying the cost of the commodities. So mill and overlay effort, once we receive our new milling attachment with our skid steer that was just purchased this year. Church Street from 2nd Street to 4th Street. The parking area on the city library lot, parallel parking area along 4th Street, which is the north side of that city block. And then finally a patching and overlay effort to alleviate some of the near-term issues with the 4th Street Bridge, which is, with the completion of the Church Street Bridge, our most in need of attention bridge in the city's portfolio. Okay. Sorry, I forgot to mention that earlier.
Are there any questions, comments?
Real quick, Kent, when we did the Sycamore curb replacement, there were issues with the measurement. They came back, we had to increase the scope by a little bit of linear feet. Remind me, what was that, what caused that? And I mean, are we at any risk from a measurement standpoint of getting something and then having to come back on something with more linear feet?
I always try to tell the contractors to verify the measurements before the project starts, and they bid it, so I'll just make sure they
Okay,
look at that.
okay,
Okay?
yeah.
So tonight, it looks like we need a motion to authorize this going out for bid,
That's right.
so we can get
yes.
started with the project. So if you don't have any further questions or comments, I would invite someone to make that motion.
I will make a motion to authorize the advertisement of the proposed 2023 street maintenance project RFP as presented by staff.
Great, thank you.
I'll second that.
All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right,
Thank you.
certainly. Okay, let's talk about the swimming pool for a little while. Today felt like could have potentially been warm enough for this. So the next items, both are regarding the city water park, and they were both approved in the budget last year, but we need to officially approve the purchase of the chlorine pulsar equipment and then some new equipment for the swimming pool for this upcoming season. So I'll hand it over to staff to debrief this.
Well, I'll be brief. I appreciate the introduction, Mayor Pro Tem Stevens. The agenda statement included a quote from Commercial Aquatic Services, Inc. for a cost not to exceed $5,890.50 for the 3 pulsar chemical feed equipment that would need replaced in the pump house facility at the water park. This equipment is original to the install back when the pool was reconstructed in 2008. As it's aged, it's shown more and more need of repair, maintenance, attention, and that can actually prove costly on an annual O&M budget impact. We utilize this company, Commercial Aquatic Services, Inc., for those repairs for the most part, and this is proposed as a sole source procurement because of the fact we're trying to keep it in continuity with the rest of the equipment in the pump house. So we're not trying to swap out brands this many years down the road. We do anticipate that replacing this equipment will alleviate some of those recent issues we've experienced and continue to protect the safety of our patrons. And chlorine and other chemical feeds into the water system are one of the biggest safety risks that we obviously need to focus on as we operate the water park. The other item proposed for replacement is the umbrellas and awnings. We have 3 very colorful umbrellas and 2 square awnings that are, or triangular, I think, that are located in the facility. Those are also original 2008, and the company proposed for the replacement is Custom Play System, Inc., who is the vendor that provided the original awnings. Those awnings will go over the existing structures, so we won't need to repurpose those structures or replace those, just the material topping. You'll probably remember last year we did invest some funds in resurfacing the slides and the elevated structures, and that did include the posts for those umbrellas and awnings. So with this, we should be at brand new condition or very close to it with those well appreciated shade structures in the facility. Happy to take any questions you might have. This is funded by the Capital Projects Fund. Our share of the county sales tax, facilities and maintenance of facilities is an acceptable use of those funds. And we do ask that you either combine the motion or issue 2 separate motions to complete the approval of this procurement. Happy to take any questions you have.
Do y'all have any questions? If not, then I would invite a motion. We can make them both together if that's acceptable, to approve the equipment needed for the water park for next season.
I will make the motion to authorize acceptance of the quote from Commercial Aquatic Services, Inc. for chlorine pulsar feeder equipment for a cost not to exceed $5,890.50, and to authorize ordering 3 umbrellas and 2 pyramid awnings from Custom Play System, Inc. for a cost not to exceed $6,189.
Right?
I
Thank you,
will
Jake.
second.
All right, and thank you, Jenny. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, that passes as well. Next up is consider the hunter safety approval class being held at here in this room, correct?
It's
Yep.
actually, yeah, I can,
No, at the old city hall. Anyway, they've done this in the past as well, so this is another annual request, and I think Dan is gonna tell us a little bit more.
sure, I'll be very brief. This item is something that has been done for many years. It's use of the city's Public Works shop facility and the shooting range for the Tonganoxie Rec Commission to coordinate with volunteer instructors for the Kansas Hunter Safety Education course. This is a course offered to children and people of all ages who sign up through the state. And the Rec Commission provides lunch and hosts the class with this facility. We utilize, again, the 2 city facilities, the Public Works shop and the shooting range, which is outdoors. And both departments, the police department with the range and the Public Works department with their shop, are aware of the requested dates, which should be in March timeframe for the spring course coming right up. And in the fall, it's typically in September or sometimes October. The draft temporary license agreement was crafted by Anna Kirstelich, the city attorney, several years ago. At the time, it was intended to also include a lot of focus on COVID-19 precautions and cleaning treatment. The agreement is still really valuable, though, to help ensure the city's protected in the case of any issue that could arise during the course. And so we do request that you approve staff executing that agreement with dates to be determined based on the scheduling and approval of the city departments. Happy to take any questions you have, but we have no concerns from staff and appreciate this opportunity for an educational use of our good facilities here.
Council, any questions? All right, then I would look for a motion to approve.
I will make a motion to authorize the city manager to execute a 2023 temporary license agreement with the Tonganoxie Recreation Commission for the utilization of city facilities for Kansas hunter education courses.
And I will second it.
All right, to all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, motion passes. All right, it looks like we are ready for a financial update.
I will be very brief with this item, as I feel like I've taken a little too long on a couple others. The report is included in the agenda packet online and at the dais. We're only a month into the year. We've reconciled January of 2023, completed collection of 18% of revenue estimated for the year, and spent only 7% of budget authority across all funds. We do have closing at the end of the month for temporary notes 2023A that were recently approved for purchase by First State Bank and Trust. And so we're busy getting that accounting exercise completed to our auditor's satisfaction and to bond councils as well. We do anticipate potentially a need for a slight budget amendment to the water and sewer capital funds, and that's only to help us accommodate the purchase approved last December for water meter replacements. Those purchases were put on order, but the delivery and payment aren't anticipated for probably another month or so. And so since that will hit 2023's budget and it wasn't planned last summer, we will make some slight adjustments, proposed to the city council, and have that to you soon for your consideration. Looking through the report, pages 2 and 3 don't have anything new or too illustrative yet through only 1 month of the year, but they do show last year through 1 month, and then this year through 1 month, and then 2023's budget. Page 4 of the report illustrates sales and use tax, which we're happy to report continues to grow. We're trending in the city sales and use tax 9.5% ahead of budget estimates for 1/12 of the year, and about 1.4% above last year through 1 month. So it was a strong month of collections. And then for the city's share of the county's tax, we're trending 9.3% above budget and 5.5% ahead of last year. So 1 month is definitely not a trend to point to and claim it'll last all year, but the good news is it's high, not low, and we like to be in that position. The next 2 pages of the report talk about general fund expenditures, and pages 6 and 7 illustrate for our water tower project that was just discussed earlier this evening, and for the city's ongoing Church Street Bridge project, the number of pay apps, the amount of those pay apps, and the amount of the contracts. So for the water tower, we've completed 4, and we're about close to 40% of the way through the financial entirety of the project cost. And then on the Church Street Bridge project, we've only completed 1 pay app to date, and we're about 30% of the way through that contract payment. Those will continue to be updated in future financial reports, and as we discussed, we hope by July or August that we can conclude both of these and move on to future projects. The last couple pages of the report illustrate 2023 budget initiatives, and I did highlight a couple that you just approved earlier this evening for the city's special highway funding RFP to move forward, and for the water park chlorine pulsar feed and umbrellas. So we're ready to check those 2 off the list after tonight. And finally, the last page illustrates the 2024 budget timeline, which will commence soon with the spring retreat next month, and then future work sessions on the capital plan and operating budget. And the last 2 pages of the report do illustrate our fund balance levels and our expenditure authority by fund remaining. So happy to take any questions you have, but a great start to the year, and we look forward to checking more things off the list soon.
Wonderful, thank you. George, anything else for the city manager agenda that you might have?
No additional items tonight.
All
Thanks.
right. Mayor Pro Tem agenda, that's me tonight. I just wanted to mention that the rec center has now the facility that was, in my day, the middle school, then the West High School campus. They have a larger facility, and they are open, and you can learn more about all the details on their Facebook page. City council agenda, any items?
I have nothing.
Okay. City attorney agenda? No items. Okay. All right. Jake, would you be willing to share that?
I move that the city council recess into executive session to discuss the city manager's annual review process pursuant to the personnel matters of non-elected personnel exception KSA 75-4319B1. The open meeting will resume in the city council chamber at, what do we need? I'm doing the math.
53.
7:53?
Yeah.
7:53, she says.
All right.
The executive session will include the city attorney and assistant city manager.
All right. Let's go.
Give me a second.
Oh, second. Let's all go.
Second.
Okay. Let's All right, we have officially returned from executive session, and we have a motion, I believe, to make.
Yes, I'd make the motion that we approve 6.9% salary adjustment for the city manager and a change in rate of 457 deferred comp from 9% of salary to 10% of salary.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
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 All right, that passes. That is the end of our agenda items this evening. Are there any other comments for the good of the order? If not, I will look to Jake.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
All right, Jenny, want to second that?
Second.
All right, have a great evening, everyone.